Dan Cohen is not just a journalist, he's in the very premier league of journalists and analysts and broadcasters. But he likes to be called a journalist, and he can be found at Uncaptured News. And he likes you to watch his films too, and as one who's watched them, I can tell you, he's always worth watching. He's Dan Cohen, and he joins us now. Dan, thank you for joining the mother of all talk shows again. I want to talk to you about Haiti, which we covered quite intensively a couple of years ago, maybe a little less, and then it moved out of the news, but it's right back up there, especially in your country of the United States. If you'll forgive the pun, what's cooking there?
Well, that cannibalism disinformation campaign that you referenced earlier was part of just that, a disinformation campaign to pave the way for a military invasion of Haiti that the United States for about 3 years has been seeking to orchestrate. And now the Washington's desire to see this go down is at really a fever pitch. Now we're seeing op-eds in the Washington Post and the Financial Times calling for a direct U.S. military invasion of Haiti. And I use the term invasion and not intervention because nobody in Haiti has agreed to this, has asked for a foreign military or foreign force to come into their country. It's completely illegal. There's no basis for it. And the figure who the U.S. wants to take out is who you referenced before, Jimmy Chérizier, whose nickname is Barbecue, the former police officer who has revolutionary aspirations and is trying to change his country for the better. And so naturally, that's who the U.S. wants to eliminate.
What could possibly go wrong, Dan? We've been through this play before, haven't we?
Well, repeatedly, the U.S. has invaded Haiti, violated its sovereignty countless times through history. I think 5 times in the last century. And the UN intervention lasted for 13 years, from 2004 to 2017. So it was just 6-7 years ago that foreign forces, military forces, pulled out of Haiti, and now the U.S. wants to send them back. But this time, I think it would be much worse than it was before. I mean, the track record of what happened in that period under the MINUSTA occupation was horrible. Massacres, rape of children. There are now fatherless children in Port-au-Prince who were born by children. There was a cholera outbreak that killed many thousands of people, and that was all under the purview of the United Nations. Those were blue helmets. Now the United Nations Security Council has given its blessing to a force that the United States is orchestrating, led primarily by Kenyan police forces. Now, the Kenyan police forces are notoriously brutal. A 2009 United Nations report by the Special Rapporteur on Human Rights found the existence of death squads in the Kenyan police, and those have basically been reshuffled every couple of years ever since, and they still exist to this day. So, supposed to combat supposed gang violence in Haiti, the United States proposes to send much more violent gangs and, in fact, death squads that would operate with total impunity to basically kill a popular leader.
Now, what they call death gangs, you call revolution. So help our viewers with this. Tell us about this fellow nicknamed Barbecue, what he's done, what social forces are behind him, and what his program for that revolution would be.
Well, basically, Barbecue is a former police officer. He was in an anti-gang unit in the Haitian National Police, and the United States wanted to destabilize the government of President Jovenel Moïse back in 2019 because he was starting to turn away from the unipolar US-led order. So basically, they took an incident that Barbecue was involved in as a police officer, and there was a firefight between the police and a criminal armed group in which people were killed. It went awry. However, the principal NED-funded human rights group in Haiti suddenly called this a massacre, and the disinformation machine went along with it, rolled out, and started smearing him. That pushed him out of the police, and he basically dedicated himself to revolution at that point. And so he defended his neighborhood from criminal armed groups. He expelled rapists and kidnappers and the like, and began to basically tell the different neighborhoods that had armed groups, that had weapons, and even the ones that had criminals that he was battling against, let's stop fighting and let's join forces in order to have a revolution against the oligarchs that give us these weapons and give us this ammunition to kill each other. And so he's been trying to do that for years, and all these years, and we show it in the documentary, Another Vision, which you can see at anothervisionhaiti.com. All this time, as he's fighting very fierce battles against criminals from the lower classes, he's trying to basically unite all of them. And so finally, he successfully did that. And that is the group called Vivre Ensemble, is a coalition of armed groups, some of which are involved in criminal activity and some of which are completely against criminal activity, like Barbecue. And that Vivre Ensemble coalition was able to, when the de facto prime minister, Ariel Henry, the US puppet, went to Kenya on February 27th in order to sign a bilateral agreement to have this Kenyan force come into Haiti. This armed group coalition went and attacked the airport so he could not return, and they basically forced his resignation. So all of a sudden, these armed groups that have a spotty record, and some of which have actually terrorized the population, as they suddenly got rid of this puppet prime minister. And so the masses see basically that this armed group, this armed coalition, has accomplished the immediate demand of getting rid of the puppet. And so now the U.S. wants to bring the forces in to kill him. And one last point, you asked about his social program. Well, if you go into Jimmy Barbecue Chérizier's neighborhood of Lower Delma, you will see that there is no trash on the ground, unlike the rest of Port-au-Prince. You will see there is clean water. There is food for people to eat. There is security. You can walk around at any time at night and be perfectly fine, unlike the other neighborhoods of Port-au-Prince. So really, he has a revolutionary program in his neighborhood that he wants to extend throughout the country.
And will this new invasion, for that's what it would be, will this new invasion be contested by these armed groups? And will we therefore have a state of war with the Kenyan police fighting for the West?
Well, Jimmy Chérizier, Barbecue, has pledged that he would fight these Kenyan death squads in the event that they come in, or any other foreign force, to the last drop of blood. Because he says, we have Dessalines' blood in our veins, Dessalines being the founding father of Haiti. And so there's no doubt that it would be a very fierce battle. It would be very bad for everyone involved, for all parties involved. It would be a bloodbath. It would not go well for these Kenyan forces who do not speak Creole. They don't know the language. They, of course, don't know the lay of the land. And they are, frankly, at this point, the United States has only been able to come up with 400 Kenyan forces because they have such a criminal record among them. And so it's a very small force at this point, and Washington is running out of options. And that's why we see in the last 2 days these op-eds in the Washington Post and the Financial Times saying that the U.S. just has to do it directly. So there have been I would say, unconfirmed reports of some kind of U.S. military presence off of Haiti's coast. But soon the U.S. is going to seek one way or another to get some kind of military force into Haiti to stamp out this alliance of armed groups led by Jimmy Chérizier.
And what first attracted the American empire to the poor little place called Haiti?
Well, I mean, if we go back, to the Haitian Revolution, really, so the 1791 to 1804 revolution is when it finalized. And the United States always basically saw this revolution of slaves as a threat. And there were Haitians involved, Haitian revolutionaries involved in slave uprisings in the United States and throughout the Americas. And ever since, the United States has sought to subdue Haiti, including a 34-year occupation beginning in 1915, when the United States Marines went into Haiti and simply stole its gold reserves from the central bank, and it has imposed dictatorships, coups d'etats, neoliberal economics on Haiti ever since in order to keep it down and prevent Haitians from actually benefiting from their own labor and from the riches of their own country, of which there are many. And so that is basically the equation that exists today.
Are they afraid of another Cuba?
Absolutely. You can imagine that State Department planners here in Washington, D.C. are terrified of the idea of a twin revolutionary island nation just east across the Windward Passage from Cuba, because, of course, there could be some kind of effect with other countries too. Imagine what could happen in the Dominican Republic or in Puerto Rico, where there's a strong independence sentiment among its nationalist sector, and Venezuela is just to the south. So the idea of the United States losing another neocolony in Latin America and the Caribbean is terrifying, especially in the era of the new Cold War with China, in which the United States is pulling its sweatshops. U.S. corporations are pulling their sweatshops out of Southeast Asia, out of China, and relocating them back into the Western Hemisphere, and sees Haiti as the place that it can exploit the most. And it is traditionally, for decades, has been the place where the U.S. has enforced the lowest wages, the most brutal exploitation, and it wants to maintain that in order to keep cheap products coming into the United States.
Remind us, Dan, where can people see your film on Haiti?
It is. I've just uploaded it to a site called anothervisionhaiti.com. So if you just go to anothervisionhaiti.com, all 3 episodes are linked there. The site is very basic. I'm going to improve it, but they're all there. You can also see it on my YouTube channel, Uncaptured Media. Also on Rumble. I've just uploaded it on Rumble to my Rumble channel, Uncaptured Media. So any of those 3 places. I think the easiest thing is anothervisionhaiti.com.
I'm sure we'll all be doing that. Dan Cohen, as always, thanks for joining us on the mother of all talk shows.